Chapter 9. The coffee cup brushed past the department head's face and smashed into the office door. It made a loud crack, and shattered porcelain pieces left a mark on the expensive furniture. The department head was dumbstruck. After a few seconds, he slowly raised his hand to his forehead to wipe his cold sweat, trembling as he asked, "Boss, was there a problem with the prospectus?" Even if there was a problem, it shouldn't cause such immense rage. It was as if someone killed his whole family. Ning Xinyan was staring at the computer screen, his face ashen, his chest undilating. He was clearly raging violently inside. He coldly glanced at the department head and waved his hand. The department head hurried out of his office as if he'd received amnesty. On the computer screen, the boy was brushing his teeth. This was already the fifth time. The foam he spit out had visible blood. Ning Qinyan's tongue also tasted a trace of blood. He was itching to devour Xiao Xingfeng. But now wasn't the time. He had just thrown out bait for Qian Yu. The other man was now on his way to the Ning residence. He picked up the phone to call Xiao Yun to make him stop the boy before he brushed his gums rotten. When he saw his sleepy-eyed son wearing a pair of large slippers stomp his way to the boy's side. "Xiaoshu, can we go paint ride?" He tucked the youth's trouser legs. Even if he felt extremely uncomfortable, the youth still quickly fixed his mood, spit out the rest of the foam, and dried his mouth, pretending as if nothing had happened. He led his son to the studio. He was clearly absent-minded when standing in front of the artboard. His brush didn't move for a long time. Ning Xinyan stared at him until his eyes dried out and turned red. Only then did he fiercely shut his eyes. A few sinister words were squeezed out between clenched teeth. "Xiao Xingfang, how dare you!" Due to his employer's urging, Qian Yu desperately wanted to get his hands on the bidding document. Just as he stepped into the Ning residence, he was resolutely pushed into the study. The door was slammed shut, and a warm body covered him. Qian Yu simply stared blankly for a moment before he turned from passive recipient to active giver, wantonly rubbing and groping the other party. After an enthusiastic battle session on the sofa, Xiao Xingfang still wanted to pull Qian Yu for another round on the desk, but was rejected. "Why are you so hungry? Ning Xinyan doesn't let you eat your fill. I can't do it again. If the time drags on any longer, I fear we'll be discovered. He hasn't touched me in months. Does he have someone outside? Who is it? I haven't heard anything. Maybe your charm has faded. Let it fade. Anyways, he only married me to help her raise his kid. Why the hell didn't he just marry a nanny? What nanny could be prettier than you? Could have a better figure than you? Could be wilder than you?" They talked and kissed for a while, then finally separated with great difficulty. Qian Yu arranged his clothes as he skillfully turned on the computer and entered the password, transferring out a copy of a confidential file. "After I'm done with this cell, I'll immediately go abroad to lie low. Help me monitor Ning Xinyan. Call me if there's any movement. When I get settled later, you'll ultimately benefit." After he collected the USB drive, Jian Yu fondled Xiao Xingfang's full chest before rushing out. Ning Xinyan stared at the messy study, suddenly feeling his stomach somersault. Jian Yu's file copy had a significant error in the data. If he sold it to the other companies, they would face billions in losses. Ning Xinyan just had to wait to hit them while they were down and carve up the goods. He forced himself to continue handling business, but no matter how much he tried, he couldn't sit still, transferring to the civilian's monitor every few minutes to look at the boy's state. Finally, at 5:30, he immediately tidied up his documents and went home. Qin Li had brought Ning Wangshu to the lakeside to feed the ducks. The youth wasn't in sight. Ning Xinyan called out a greeting, then hurriedly entered the house to find him. What are you doing? His voice was very stern, but if you listened carefully, you could sense a slight trembling. Zhou Shang paused slightly, then he continued packing. In accordance with Wei Xiyan's character, after such a thing happened, he certainly wouldn't dare tell Ning Xinyan, and he even more wouldn't dare to stay in Ning residence. Although Zhou Sheng was merely putting on an act, he needed to give Ning Xinyan some pressure to force him to deal with that woman as soon as possible. Having said that, Ning Xinyan was really too easy to use. Zhou Yunsheng just had to blink a few times and pout, and he would help him settle everything. Please stop and listen to me. Ning Xinyan restlessly slapped the clothes out of the youth's hands. Seeing him widen his eyes, apparently frightened, he quickly hugged him and apologized. Xiyan, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I just didn't want you to leave. What happened today? Talk to me. Zhou Shang just slightly shook his head without a word. Ning Xinyan didn't dare force him. His heart felt extremely uncomfortable, like it was immersed in a deep fryer. He recalled Xiao Xingfang's forced kiss, and his eyes gradually reddened in wrath. Why? Why would he only hide in a dark corner quietly watching the boy, while others could approach him unscrupulously, even forcing a kiss on him? Why? The repressed anger in his heart burned out his reason. He pinched the boy's jaw and desperately repeatedly wiped his thin lips with his fingers. Zhou Shang frowned in pain. Just as he wanted to lean away, the other man bent over, suddenly kissing him, leaving no room for words. His tongue pushed past his teeth and explored deep into his throat with fierce strength, like he wanted to swallow him whole. Saliva leaked out from between their giant lips, forming a silver thread. After a very long time, just when Zhou Shang was almost unable to breathe, Ning Xinyan reluctantly ended the kiss, but he didn't pull back. Their lips were still touching, his fingers locking Zhou Shang's jaw in place. His eyes gazing into his, he asked in a husky voice, "Tell me, what do you feel right now?" "I want to fuck you." Zhou Sheng's eyes flashed, but he remained silent. "Tell me, hurry." Ning Xinyan's fingers slowly tightened up, leaving a few purple marks on the youth's fair jaw. Zhou Sheng endured the pain, slowly saying in a timid voice, "I'm afraid. Afraid you won't do it, damn pervert." The man was extremely close. His burning hot breath radiated a strong taste of male hormones, almost making Zhou Sheng's mind swoon. He liked strong men like Ning Xinyan. The other side's intense possessiveness and wild action made him excited, and that kiss was excellent, completely washing away the nauseating feeling Zhao Xingfang left behind. He almost wanted to hug Ning Xinyan and say thank you. Ning Xinyan was panting roughly, his voice increasingly hoarse. "Besides fear, what else are your feelings?" Zhou Yunsheng dropped his eyes, his cheeks slowly flushing, his dark eyes soaked in light tears. He looked radiant and moving. Seeing this, Ning Xinyan forgot how to breathe, his mind repeatedly echoing a thought. He's embarrassed. He didn't find it disgusting. He has also feelings for me. After becoming aware of this, he was like a backpacker clinging to the edge of a cliff after an accident, finally being rescued. The ecstasy and excitement scored his heart over and over again. His taut nerves finally relaxed. His stern eyes melted, filling up with deep and heavy love. "Xian, Xian, Xian," he repeatedly called the boy's name, sealing his already swollen lips with kisses. He murmured, "Xian, baby, I love you. I love you so much. Can you understand? Can you sense it?" Zhou Cheng was lying on his violently undulating chest. He nodded almost imperceptibly. The room was filled with a romantic sucking sound. Since his relationship with Nang Xinyan came to pass, regardless of what happened after the female lead appeared, Zhu Yuncheng didn't care. He only lived in the moment, only cherished the moment. 1 month later, the capital's Academy of Fine Arts received news that one of the 5 works sent into this session of the competition made it into the finals and would be eligible to compete for the highest award. In this kind of grand art event, every speck of interest felt like being plated in gold. Not to mention having your work evaluated by art masters from around the world, this was simply an incredible honor. The notification letter not only had the full name of the person of honor printed on it, a photo of the work was also attached. The oil painting department students were scrambling to take a look. This is my work. Why is it signed by senior brother? Shu Yunsheng paled. Everyone was silent. Professor Tang Wei Ming, the two's CO academic advisor, gave him a harsh look. This was obviously personally painted by Fu Xuan. I watched him complete it, stroke by stroke. Why do you say it's yours? What evidence do you have? Tang Wei Ming naturally knew who really painted this painting, but he received benefits from Fu Xuan, so he could only feel sorry for Wei Xian. The world wasn't as pure and unpretentious as outsiders imagined. This was something Wei Xian needed to learn sooner or later. Yes, share a studio with Fu Xuan Sr. We personally watched him paint it. A few students echoed in agreement. Apparently, Fu Xuan had prepared well in advance. Fu Xuan took back the notification letter and patted So Yun Cheng's shoulder, laughing. Junior brother, you must speak with evidence, or I can sue you for slander. Zhou Yunsheng seemed to be intimidated by his threat, his face paling to transparency. He stared at Tang Wei Ming until the other man looked away in embarrassment. Then he looked at the students who gave false testimony before slowly walking away. Fu Xuan sighed in relief, knowing that he was an orphan who couldn't make any waves. He invited the other students out to eat, and everyone cheered excitedly, noisily walking over to the school gate. Zhou Yunsheng went to a secluded corner, rubbed his eyes, cleared his throat, and made a phone call. The thick, nasally voice on the phone almost made Ning Xinyan jump in fright. He asked anxiously, "What's wrong, baby? Did something happen? Don't be afraid. I'm here. Tell me where you are. I'll come right away." Zhou Yunsheng hoarsely said, "I'm in school. I'm very upset right now." Ning Xinyan pacified him while heading down to the car. By the time he hung up, he was already on the road. Zhou Yunsheng was not incapable of handling Fu Xuan, but he was now Wei Xian. Wei Xian's world only had painting, none of these dirty things. So from the beginning, he'd planned to have Ning Xinyan solve all his problems for him. This was also Ning Xinyan's debt to Wei Xian. He needed to pay it back sooner or later. As for Ning Xinyan's emotional changes, that was purely accidental. Poor Fu Xuan had no idea he'd provoked such a formidable character.